All right, we are now recording. So awesome, Leo. Appreciate it. Who needs help with what?
I have a question.
Go for it.
When sending out offers on Deal Snapper, and should we be looking into the long term and the Section 8 portal to make sure it's cash flowing?
I'm gonna say for right now, no. Let me give you an example. Let me show you what I'm talking about. I'll just grab this one for right now. Obviously, this isn't a property that I would use. I would apply my filters, but I want to make sure I can show the calculator. So for this property, once it pulls everything up, you hit no because we don't know if it has a mortgage. The Section 8 is good. This portion of the calculations are fine as long as there's enough data in the area to fill this information in, if that makes sense. What I always recommend is that if you're going to underwrite a deal that's creative financing or any deal for that matter, use the deal machine calculator. Use this. And I only recommend that you underwrite deals once a realtor responds positively. I don't think anyone should underwrite a deal or every deal that Deal Sniper generates. Deal Sniper will always generate a equitable and movable deal for a wholesaler. I only recommend people underwrite deals if a realtor says, hey, yeah, I like your offer. Let's talk about it. Or, hey, can we get a little bit more on the purchase price? Or can we get a little bit more on the down payment? Then I would jump to this calculator, punch these numbers in, and figure out how much you can actually give them.
Okay, yeah, that sounds good. That sounds good. It kind of clicked when you said that.
Awesome. Good. I'm
Now
glad.
I'm not doing that for every deal, but I'm just sitting here because I kind of got to my limit, so I was just playing around with some stuff, and I
Mhm.
clicked on it, and the last deal that I sent off wasn't cash flowing, so I'm like, since he jumping in class, I'm gonna ask him about that.
The last deal that Deal Sniper generated for you wasn't cash flowing?
No, it wasn't.
Well, hold on. It wasn't cash flowing per the deal machine calculator or per the Deal Sniper portion of the calculator?
Deal sniper.
Oh, yeah. No, that
Yeah,
makes sense.
yeah.
This portion, the long-term rental part, in most states, it's okay, but we have everything really dialed in on the deal machine calculator. So I would always recommend, even if you underwrite a deal or you're looking at it and Deal Sniper says it doesn't cash flow, I'm willing to bet almost anything I own, my most precious sword, that it'll cash flow if you underwrite it on the deal machine calculator.
Okay,
So
I
just
got you.
double check it there.
Okay.
Okay, who else has a question? Rami, what's up, dude? You're muted if you're talking.
Hello, hello. How are you doing?
Fantastic. What can I do for you?
So I think you responded. I'm not sure. I didn't check. Um, but I'm still having issues with the whole with the loan having different interest rates because it's only a supplemental loan, but she's saying that the monthly payments is now 17. I'm confused because it's like like I don't know. I don't think it's like how would I calculate that specifically? Like as like for if it's different interest rates.
So it's supposed to be a hybrid, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's look at it right now. So there's a first and a second. So for anyone that doesn't understand what's going on, when you're dealing with a hybrid is a combination of a subject to, meaning we're going to be paying their mortgage, and then a seller finance. The seller financing portion is for their equity, however much over their mortgage that the property is worth. So in this situation, correct me if I'm wrong, dude, but this one has a first and a second. That's like a HELOC, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So what's the first mortgage payment?
First mortgage payment is like 1,500.
Okay. And what's the second mortgage payment? The HELOC.
Second mortgage payment I believe was like 450.
Okay. So which part was confusing you besides adding these two up and just having it a mortgage payment PITI of 1950?
So it's not even in regards to those two. They also have a third.
What
Uh,
the what?
yes, and so the third isn't even of the house. It's like solar. They have like a solar.
Oh, okay, that's different. That's different. Never mind.
Yeah.
That's
So it's
different.
just
I was
like I'm just
thinking
like, bro,
Family
like
Guy for a
how do
second.
I do all this? Because it's like different interest rates for each one. So you know what I mean? Like the first two is pretty self-explanatory. I just add those and I can come up with the math for that. But it's like if you have several, like they have one for uh it's four in total. One for like the HVAC, one for the solar panels, and then the HELOC, and then the actual mortgage.
All right, how much is it for the solar panels?
Solar panels is like $200 even a month, but it's like 4.5% interest rate or something like that. I don't even know how they even got to that.
All right, how much is the HVAC
HVAC is it's
a month?
leftover is like 9,600, and it's like $183 a month.
All right.
Then the interest rate on that
So
is like 5.
so what I would do is I would take these two separate. And this is me personally. You can add all these up together, but because they have different interest rates, it'll get a little bit funky. What's the
Right.
interest rate on the mortgage?
30.25.
Oh yeah. See, they're all what's the interest rate on the second? It's like
Uh
10?
on the second it was like 9 point something, I forget.
Yeah, that's what I figured. So close to 10. Okay. So we've got three, we've got 9, 10, we've got what, 4.5, and then we've got a 3 point something, right?
Yeah.
Okay. This is gonna be a little creative, and just because the calculator isn't made for a deal like
Right.
this. But essentially, here's what I would do. What's the mortgage balance?
Mortgage balance is 144,000, and just say 144,000.
Okay. So I would change the PITI to 1950 because that's the mortgage that's associated with the property. Interest rate is fine. Don't worry about the interest rate. The only thing that's going to matter is the cash flow. So 1950, that's these two added together. These are extra, like supplemental things. So we're going to add those separately. What is the seller financed amount?
83,000.
Okay. And then cash to seller?
20 grand.
Nice. And what's the LTR?
2350.
Realtor commissions?
Um, we didn't discuss it. Like, I'm not paying it. It's just the what's it called? Just the seller side.
Okay, good. All right. And then what's the 1950? Okay, and what are you giving the seller as a monthly payment? What's proposed?
I said $150.
Okay. All right, so now, yeah, this deal doesn't cash flow at all.
Because I was thinking it's gonna be a homestead situation, but I just wanted to confirm.
It's going to have to be. So if anyone's following along, I'm going to take that number and I'm going to multiply it by 12, and I'm going to take that number and I'm going to multiply it by 12, and that's going to give me the yearly. So 383 times 12 is $4,596. I'm just going to stick that here. $4,596. Yeah, this deal's got a bad negative cash flow, and you're looking at a $2,200 a month payment. Is the property in good shape? Like the
It's
condition?
turnkey from like the studs. That's why they have solar and HVAC and all that type of stuff.
Got it. That makes sense. I mean, what city?
It's in San Antonio.
You know what? You know me. If there's a
Right.
1%
There's
chance
one
that you can
percent.
close
Yeah.
it, I go for it. I mean, but again, you know what I'm going to say. Set the proper expectation. Say, look, and show the realtor. Anyone that's new, when you're dealing with a realtor and you think it's going to be a homestead situation, you can show them just this, just this square right here. Don't worry about this one. Don't worry about this one. Just this square, and say, hey, look, the deal doesn't cash flow, but I've got a small community of homestead buyers, people who would actually live in the property that may be interested and have the money to close. Give me 2 weeks. Let me see if I can find you a buyer.
And
That's
so
how you say that.
so I say it like that, and obviously this has not been brought up yet, but I know it's coming. What if they're like, okay, well, if they can't qualify to get traditional financing, how do we know that they're going to stay true to the agreement and not default? Like,
Oh, you don't.
got you.
You don't. And that's why we build in, and my answer to that would be, well, we've had that situation come up before where someone asked the exact same question. So great question. What we typically do, and you'll see it in our paperwork, is we add the deed in lieu. So if the buyer defaults in any way, shape, or form, not only does your client get to keep all the money that they've already received, any upgrades that have already been done to the property, but they get the property deeded right back to them. Our buyer signs away all their right to foreclosure, arbitration, any other way to fight this process. The property gets deeded back to your seller, and they can literally turn around and sell it to somebody else the very next day if they want to.
Right. One response that I've been getting a lot of recently is, it's a wrap. Like legit, just that. It's the response from the realtor. It's a wrap. So how do I respond to that?
It is, and it's not. A wrap more applies to someone who's going to live in the property. That's more typical.
Mm-hmm.
This is an owner finance. Even if it's a subject to, it's a subject to.
Gotcha.
So I mean, you can the term wrap, and for anyone that doesn't know, a wrap is when you take, okay, so you have a property that has a mortgage, and it's already got terms, it's already got a monthly payment, an interest rate, a balloon, yada yada yada. You wrap your terms around that. So if your subject mortgage has a 3% interest rate, then you're going to sell it to an investor or an end buyer at a 6% interest rate. So not only are you making monthly cash flow, but you're also charging them more on the down payment. That's a wrap. You're wrapping your terms around the existing terms. But the term wrap is a very broad umbrella. So technically, yeah, a wrap can be considered a subject to, but a subject to is a subject to. That's like saying, if in mixed martial arts, if you're grappling and you're talking about submissions, a submission is the umbrella. So that's wrap. But an armbar is an armbar.
Got you. That makes sense.
Okay, cool. Does anybody else have any questions about what I just went over? Okay, cool. Who's got the next question?
I have a question. How did you get the, I'm sorry, I just got here, the LTR potential rate?
The LTR, for the most part, is always going to be listed on Deal Sniper. It'll always be right here, estimated rent. This one is 2066, and LTR stands for long-term rental. So how much it'll rent for currently. So Deal Sniper will always give you that. It's right here.
Okay. Okay, no wonder, because mine's like almost exactly the same as the PITI. It's like the same numbers. That's what I was confused.
So when it's doing, you're talking about here where it says total PITI plus HOA?
So I went into Deal Sniper and I just put that that this property has a mortgage. So mine looks like, let's see, I think mine looks different than this one. So I put yes instead of no. I put yes, and I put the mortgage balance. I put the mortgage balance and their monthly payment.
Mm-hmm.
Are you able to help me on this one?
Actually, yeah, if you need to underwrite this deal, we can.
Okay,
So
so
let me, hold on. Before we get started, we need to identify if it's a subject to or a hybrid. How much were they selling the property for originally? How much did Deal Sniper tell you to offer?
So they told me to offer, let me see, let me go back to my sheets here. 1007. Okay, so originally they told me 230,000. It's listed for 209 or 210.
Okay. And what's the mortgage balance?
The mortgage balance is 180,
Really?
180,160. It says they sent me over their mortgage loan statement, which
Mhm.
says interest bearing principal balance. Is that the mortgage balance or?
Correct.
Okay, so yeah, it says $180,160.91.
Okay, so $180,000, right? If I'm rounding.
Yes.
Okay, so that's the mortgage balance, and then they were selling it for, you said 209, right?
Yes.
Okay, so to give you guys a very simple, and it's simple coming from me. If you're new to this, it's going to sound confusing. You'll get it. To give you guys a simple breakdown of the difference between a subject to and a hybrid. A subject to basically means that we're going to give them some money and they're going to walk away. They don't care about their equity, or they don't have any. A hybrid deal means that we're going to pay their mortgage, we're going to give them some money, but they're not walking away. They're staying so that they can collect monthly payments on their equity. So here's an example. Actually, I'll use your example. So they have a $180,000 mortgage, but they're selling the property for $210,000, right? So I'm going to bring up my calculator so you guys can follow along. So I can show you how seller or subject to can be beneficial, especially when you're dealing with something that's on market. So let's look at the calculator. So they're selling their property for 200 and we'll just do 210,000. $210,000, right? So for those of you that don't know, when you sell your property, escrow title at closing is going to take whatever you owe on the property, whether it's a mortgage, a lien, back taxes, whatever, and they're going to pay it off for you. And then they're just going to cut you a check for whatever's left. So in this situation, if they were to sell their property traditionally, someone came in and gave them $210,000, escrow is going to take out the $180,000 mortgage, which is only going to leave them about $30,000. Then you have to subtract about maybe $5,000 in commission, realtor commission, and closing costs, which means they're only going to walk away with about $25,000. Keep that in mind. Okay, so I'm going to switch screens here to something else. So now let's go back to the calculator and let's see what a subject to looks like and how much money we can give them. Because a lot of people are like, oh, I have to negotiate with them and give them so much less than what they were expecting. Not necessarily. In this situation, they owe $180,000. What's the monthly mortgage payment?
$1,672.73, but I just put 73.
Gotcha. What's the interest rate?
6.5.
Okay. Well, actually, let's do real numbers and then. What'll it rent for?
Okay, that was the question I had. So it would rent for, it looks like one estimated rent is 1,679. So it's 1,680.
Okay. So if we remember back to the calculator, I'm going to touch on a couple of things. First, I'm going to talk about how much money the seller would walk away from and how much you have to negotiate with them. How long has this property been listed before I get into that?
It says 48 days.
Okay. So here's what my conversation with the realtor and or the seller would be. Look, I don't know why the property hasn't sold. I wish it had, but it hasn't. But I'm here to help. You guys have been waiting 48 days to try and make potentially $25,000. What I'm telling you right now is I can make sure that you get $18,000 cash and I'll cover the realtor's commission. If you can make that work, we can make that work. We can make this deal work. So here's essentially what I'm saying. They would have walked away with $25,000, just about, give or take. I don't know what the realtor's charging, but give or take, they would have walked away with about $25,000 if they sold the house traditionally, but it hasn't sold traditionally in 48 days. Or we can end all the nonsense and give them $18,000 cash, which is $7,000 less than they would get if they were selling it traditionally, granted. But again, we're offering them $18,000 right now versus them staying on market for another 45, 60, 90 days to try and chase another $7,000. Most people would take the $18,000. And even in this deal, if the property is in good shape, you can always give them maybe 20, maybe even 25. You never know. It depends on the situation. But now we have to address the cash flow situation. This deal does not cash flow. Does anyone understand why, or does anyone not understand why I'm saying this deal does not cash flow? So I can make sure that I explain it. What's up, Keisha?
I was raising my hand because I don't understand why it does it.
Okay. So straight off the gate, what we're looking at is a property. There's certain things that we cannot change with deals. We can't change what the mortgage payment is, and we cannot change what the property will rent for. The only thing that we can change is the monthly payment we're giving to the seller if it's that type of deal. A subject to is not that type of deal. It's the most rigid type of deal because you can't change a damn thing. You can't change what the mortgage payment is, and you can't change what the rent is. So in this situation, the mortgage payment is $1,672. It'll rent for $1,680. That's the difference between $8. That's not including maintenance, repairs, vacancies, or any type of major CapEx expenditures. So if I go to sub 2, I can tell you this deal, let me put this in, 1672. This deal does not cash flow because it costs $20,064 a year to pay for just for the rent, or I'm sorry, just for the mortgage. But it's only bringing in $20,160.
Okay.
And that's not including these things here: the vacancy, the repairs, the maintenance, and the CapEx reserves. Oh, I got to take that HOA out. So this property would actually be losing $1,920 every single year. And the reason why I knew that from this page is because of how close these numbers were. How much it costs to pay for every month versus how much it'll bring in every month. They were so close, I knew that the deal wasn't going to cash flow.
They said that.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So they texted me, we are selling it sub 2. I think they're investors. So we are investors as well, asking $7,500 plus closing costs. Take over the payments.
Okay, now that's a little bit different. Now, I say that's a little bit, I'm a real optimistic guy. I don't know if a lot of you have noticed that or not. But if there's a 1% chance we can get a deal done, I say go for it. For you guys, it's free. Yes, it takes 5-10 minutes to fill out the dispo form and the contract. But other than that, my team's doing all the work. So if there's even a 1% chance we can get you paid on it, as long as you're setting the proper expectation with the seller, I'm always going to say go for it for the most part. So let's take a look at this. Let's change some of the numbers. So instead of 18,000, they want 7,500, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then what were the other stipulations? Say it again.
Okay, so 7,500. We are selling it sub 2. We are investors as well, asking 7,500 plus closing costs. Take over the payments. That's what he wrote.
I mean, your entry fee percentage is pretty good. So here's what it looks like. We would have to find a homestead buyer. And for those of you that don't know what that is, A homestead buyer is the opposite of an investor. An investor is not living in the property that they buy. They're going to put a tenant in there so they can cash flow. A homestead buyer is going to live in it. They don't care about the cash flow. They don't care about the cash on cash return. They don't care about none of that. Here's the situation. The ideal homestead buyer is someone that cannot, for whatever reason, get qualified at a bank traditionally to get approved for a loan to buy a home. But they have money for the down payment and the entry fee. So in this situation, here's what we would be looking for. Assuming you wanted to make $10,000 on this deal, which you should be, we would be looking for a homestead buyer that has $20,000 cash. We would advertise this property to a homestead buyer that says, hey, you can't go to a bank, can't get approved, don't have a social security number, whatever the situation is, you can buy this property, live in it for a few years, refinance it into your own name, and now it's yours. That's what the marketing material would look like. And the only thing that they would need to close on this deal is $21,100, which is pretty doable. What city is this deal in?
Jacksonville.
Florida?
Yes.
I say go for it. Set the proper expectation with the realtor. Let him know, hey, my buyers, my primary buyers, they're cash flow buyers. And this deal, as you can see, Mr. and Mrs. Realtor, does not cash flow. But I have a small handful of homestead buyers that would be interested in this property. Let me lock it up under contract for 2 weeks, and I'll try and see if I can find a buyer. If I find one, great, we'll close and we'll get everybody paid. If not, hey, you're in the exact same situation you are right now. It doesn't cost you a dime. Let me try. It would be something along the lines of that to pitch it to them.
And I'll just fill out the dispo form for you guys to help me out with that, the homestead.
If you needed us to try and dispo the deal, absolutely. And then, like I said, I will give you the same disposition material that we're using, and I'll show you exactly where to post it that we're not posting it. So if you find a buyer before my team does, well, great. You get the entire assignment fee. Congratulations. I don't care as long as you get paid.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem. Who raised their hand? Morgan, what's up?
I just had a question. So for that one, I know it said that the long-term rental wouldn't allow cash flow, but couldn't you also check and see like if the Section 8 would cash flow in her case? Or like wouldn't you run the numbers the same way?
Yeah, so you can absolutely go to the HUD website or whatever platform you're using to run those numbers and see if it'll cash flow. The only issue that I would have with this is that it would have to cash flow 19% total in the other direction in order for the deal to work. So it would have to cash flow enough to cover the 9.10% that's there, plus an additional 10% for it to be a good investor deal. And it probably isn't going to do that. But you can absolutely check. Yeah, you can. That's definitely how you would check. You're right.
Okay.
Okay, who else has got a question?
So I got a couple questions.
Okay.
No, go ahead,
hold
Felicia.
up.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Felicia.
Okay, I have a couple of questions too. One, since you're on this point, so at what point you on this screen, at what point do you start using the deal machine? Is it after you've gotten something under contract, or just when from what we're getting from deal sniping, we just enter it in here? That's
So
the first question.
this is my advice. Now, everyone doesn't follow it, and I'm not the end all be all of information. So, you work the system that however matches your personality. But here's what I say. I say, don't underwrite every single deal that you're sending out. That would be a lot. The very nature of our formula for success is to send out 100 offers a week. And out of those 100, 5 realtors will respond positively. Out of those 5, 2 or 3 will close.
Okay.
So you'd be underwriting 100 deals a week, only technically really having a chance of closing 5. So what I suggest is to underwrite the deals only when the real estate agent responds with anything other than no. Because a real estate agent, they're going to negotiate. Their fiduciary responsibility is to their client, the seller. So they're going to try and get them the best deal that they can. So a lot of times when you get on the phone with the realtor, they may ask, can we get a higher down payment? Can we get a higher monthly payment? You need the calculator in order to determine that. So only underwrite the deals when the realtor responds positive. Other than
Oh,
that, just send out offers.
okay. That's okay. So this is just when it's okay. That makes a lot of sense. Okay. Other question is, I had a lady to respond. She wanted to know. I think I put it in there this morning for how many years, but I don't know if she actually meant the balloon. So I sent 10 years, and then she sent back that it's not mathing. The math not mathing, I guess. So in what other way? How do you calculate the balloon, or what could she possibly be talking about? I didn't want to call her back. She did try to call me. I didn't want to call her and not know what I was talking about, if that makes sense.
Gotcha. No, that absolutely makes sense. So here's the
Hmm.
situation with that. Right now, we're in the process of making tweaks to the back end of Deal Sniper and the algorithm. It's calculations because we're trying to add for every single deal, it's going to give you a different term. It may be 27 years, it may be 28 years, it may be 24 years. It's going to be 20 plus. So the response that I've been giving to everyone that you're going to give to real estate agents is, look, we amortize this between 20 and 30 years, but we'll get you paid off in 10 on a balloon. So
Okay.
respond to that realtor and say, however you want to word it based off the conversation, that the 10 years is a balloon. We've got it amortized, or the term and amortized are interchangeable words. So term, amortization means the exact same thing. We've got the term set between 20 and 30 years, but we've got it on a 10-year balloon. So we'll get it all paid off in 10 years. That should answer their question and get them satisfied.
Okay. And last question is, under what, I mean, I see the blank assignment PDF. So is that what I use to put it under contract?
Wait, the blank is, what do you mean?
You gotta, as far as the contracts, I'm in the,
Oh, in the contracts channel?
uh-huh. So what contract do I use to get them, put it under contract with them?
There's
If
only
that's what they
one.
want.
There's
Okay.
only one in the contracts channel. The only time you guys will use a different contract is if it's got a mortgage, if it's a subject to or a hybrid. I will send out. You guys don't have access to that contract, and the contract's essentially the same. It just has some different addendums and some different clauses in there that have to be included for a subject to. So I send out that contract for you. If it's a straight seller finance or a cash deal, use the contract in the contracts channel, and the video right below it shows you step by step how to fill it out.
Right. So that's the purchase one. Because I also see one that says the blank assignment PDF, and then you got
The
the
assignment contract is if you find a buyer.
okay.
So
So
I'll
I
give
need
you,
to use the
so
purchase and sale. Okay. Mm-hmm.
yeah. So the purchase and sale contract is between you and the seller. The assignment contract is between you and the investor on the same deal.
Okay. Yeah, because I know we're supposed to just get them. We're trying to basically get it under contract. So when you say that, what contract am I using? The purchase and sale agreement,
Correct.
the one you gave instructions on. Okay, I just want to
Correct.
be clear on that.
Nope, you're good.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much.
You're very
So
welcome.
when it's a realtor involved, don't we use this, like Texas will use like the trick contracts?
So some real estate agents are sticklers, and there are some states where you have to use a certain contract. Not many, not as many as the real estate agents make it sound like. But there are some real estate agents who are sticklers and like, hey, this needs to be on such and such contract for whatever state I'm in. And the reason why they do that, just so you guys know, is because that's the contract they know. That's the one they're comfortable with. That's the one they know how to navigate. That's the one that makes them feel comfortable moving forward. So if they want to do that, just do it. Say, hey, I don't have a copy of that contract, but if you want to represent me as the buyer and double end the deal, then I will send you my contract. If you can just put my terms on the contract and submit it to the seller, We'll see if we can get this deal done.
Okay.
So here's what I just said. Let me translate. When a real estate agent, a listing agent, the ones that you guys are reaching out to every single day using Deal Sniper, when they sign a contract, they're signing a contract with the owner of the property saying, I'm going to list this property and I'm going to charge you whatever. You'll say 3%. Usually it's 3%. Then another real estate agent who has buyers typically will bring a buyer to that real estate agent and say, hey, I have a buyer. And that buyer will pay their real estate agent 3%. When a real estate agent gets to double end the deal, why that's a buzzword for them is because that means they get both sides. They get to represent the seller for the listing, and then they get to represent you or your investor as the buyer. So they get the 3% from you, and then they get the 3% from the seller. So they're getting double their money for essentially doing the same amount of work. That's why they get excited when you say things like that.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Awesome.
And
Did
I
that
had a
answer your-
question.
Go for it.
Yeah. So the property, I don't know if you can see the property that I sent you earlier is like a real bad fixer upper. I wanted to know if those types of properties are worth pursuing or worth like sending offers on.
You want my honest opinion, or you want me to say something cool?
I want your honest opinion.
I wouldn't.
Okay.
For a seller financing deal, or for a creative financing deal in general, I wouldn't. And here's why: because you got to put yourself in the buyer's position. In a
Okay.
situation like that, you're asking the buyer to pay the down payment to the seller, pay your assignment fee, pay the closing costs, pay the realtor's commission usually, and then also pay $40,000-$50,000 to rehab the property before they can ever
Okay.
make a dollar.
Okay. I kind of
So
figured.
yeah, like now cash, because the mindset for those type of investors are different. Buy and hold investors, people who we're going to be selling your deals to, are very different than flippers. Flippers, they care about how cheap can I get it, how cheap can I get it fixed up, and how much can I sell it for? What's my profit? A buy and hold investor doesn't really care about that, but they also have the different mindset when it comes to rehab. A buy and hold investor does not want to rehab a property. They don't want to do that. They want to do as little bit of work as possible and get a tenant in there so they can start cash flowing.
Okay. Makes sense.
Cool?
Yep.
Awesome. Morgan, I'm going to get to you in a second. James, what's up?
Yes, sir. Could you tell me one more time, which I know you told me, I'm going to write it down this time. When do we use hybrid compared to sub two?
So you're going to use a subject to when the purchase price that they were originally selling it for is very close to how much their mortgage balance is. You're going to use a hybrid if they're selling it for way more than their mortgage balance is. Let me give you an example. And I'm going to give you actual like formulas to do as well, but I'm going to give you an example for everyone, just easy to understand. If they are selling their property for $100,000 and they have an $80,000 mortgage, it's probably going to be a subject to, because the gap between what they're selling it for and what their mortgage balance is so small. If they have a mortgage balance of $80,000 and they're selling their house for $200,000, that gap is much bigger. That's going to be a hybrid. That means they're trying to capture that $120,000 worth of equity. And the way that they're going to do that is through a hybrid, where we're going to give them a down payment and then make monthly payments every single month to pay them for that equity. So that's the difference. The actual formula is 10%. If their mortgage balance and what they're asking for as a purchase price is more than the 10% of their mortgage balance, then it's going to be a hybrid. If it's 10% or less, then it's probably going to be a subject to. If it's 15% or less, it's probably going to be a subject to, because you're going to negotiate that price down, the down payment.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Morgan, what's up? And then Amber, I'll get to you right after.
I hit it by accident. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, it's all good. Amber, what's up?
All right now. Okay, so based on the information you just said, this is where I chime in a little bit.
Okay.
You specifically said something about sub two. My question is in regards to pretty much what I asked you earlier, if you could just verbalize it.
Okay.
Oh God, what was I saying?
I don't
Oh
know.
yeah, so when it comes to the deeds,
Yeah.
can you please explain that as in depth, but summarize as you can? For
So
the
when the
sub
deed
two
transfers
hybrid.
and when it doesn't?
Yes.
Oh, sure. Okay. So there's a couple of different terms you guys are going to have to get familiar with when you're dealing with creative financing. So I'm going to give them to you. And then I'm going to give you what it looks like at the end. And by the end, I mean closing. You've gotten your assignment fee, the buyer got their property, the seller got their down payment. That's closing. Okay. Moving forward. So when you're doing a seller finance, at closing, when the deal is done, you found a buyer, everything's good, everyone's been paid. The deed is in the new buyer's name, the investor's name. When you do a subject to or a hybrid, when you're closing, everything is done, everyone's been paid. The deed is in the new buyer or the new investor's name, but the mortgage is in the seller's name still, under their name, under their social security number. Nothing has changed in that regard. The only difference is the buyer is now making that mortgage payment for them every single month. But the deed is in the seller's name, or I'm sorry, the buyer's name. When you're doing a lease option, because that's been thrown around a lot lately in the Discord, I've been seeing that. When you're doing a lease option is a fancy way of saying rent to own. In that situation, when the deal closes, the deed is still in the seller's name, and it does not transfer to the buyer's name until they pay off the balance of what they owe the seller. That goes for land contract. That also goes for a wrap most of the time. If the seller is not comfortable with the subject to or a hybrid and they want to do a wrap, which is again just a lease option on an existing mortgage, once the deal closes and everyone's been paid, the deed is still in the seller's name until the buyer pays everything off, all the balances, then it goes in their name. So it's exactly like when you buy a car. What happens when you buy a car? You go to the dealership, you negotiate a price, you negotiate a down payment. Once you pay all those payments off, you get the title. Same thing with a lease option, a land contract, or a wrap in most cases. On a subject to, a hybrid, or a seller finance, when those close, the deed transfers ownership from the seller to the buyer. Amber, did that answer your question?
Yeah, I got to clarify though. So
Go for it.
as far as, okay, so for this situation, there's mortgage on the property.
Okay.
The realtor said the seller wouldn't be interested unless like his name wouldn't be on anything. And I mean the seller. But with a mortgage, how does that, could you just touch base on that one more time? If there is a mortgage on the property, how does it work as far as the deed goes?
It's going to transfer the deed from the seller to the buyer at closing.
Mm-hmm.
Whoever our investor is going to transfer. However, the mortgage is still going to be open and in the seller's name.
Okay. And then considering the fact that we as the buyer, not us, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Are paying month to month on the mortgage, it's still going to be in the seller's name, but we still cover that payment.
Correct.
Okay. And then once we hit that 10 or 12-year balloon, what happens at that point?
It's paid off.
So then there's no mortgage, or is just everything now in the buyer's name?
No. Are you talking about a subject to?
Yes.
So there's typically no balloon on a subject to.
Okay. That's the confusion. Okay.
Unless the mortgage already has a balloon built into it.
Mm-hmm. And
if
in
the
that
mortgage,
case, I would get that
when the
information.
seller got it, forget about selling their property. Way back in the beginning, when the seller bought the property, if they signed a mortgage stating that there's a balloon in 15 or 20 years. And then here we come 15 years later, we want to subject to the deal. And the seller lets us know, hey, there's a balloon due in 5 years. Then yes, then there's a balloon on a subject to or hybrid. But if that wasn't already established, there's usually no balloon on a subject to or hybrid.
Gotcha.
It's just we give the seller some money, they walk away, we make the payment until it's paid off on a subject to. Or we give the seller some money and then we give them monthly payments until we pay off the seller finance portion. Then they go away and then we pay off the rest of the mortgage monthly.
Okay, but the mortgage is always in their name until it's closed, until
Correct.
it's covered. Okay.
Yeah, for those of you that are new, it is very different to assume a mortgage versus a subject to on a mortgage. Those are not the same thing. Our investors, not all investors, but a good chunk of them, for me to say this part, don't like assuming the mortgage. They want to do a subject to. So it's very different. Be careful with your verbiage when you're talking to these realtors. We're not assuming it. We're servicing the mortgage payment. That's just a fancy way of saying we're making the mortgage payment every single month.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Scott, what's up, man?
What's going on, my man? Hey, I got a question.
Go for it.
If I have multiple properties and I need to send the email back to the realtor, right? And I already done calculated my down payment and all that stuff, correct?
Okay.
I'm trying to figure out a creative way how to make the email to send back to him.
Okay.
So I can get a yes.
Okay, so let's walk through the situation real quick because I'm a little confused. You have one listing agent that has multiple properties for sale right now?
Right, it's a package.
Okay, so hold on, that's different. So here's what I'm asking. Is it one owner that owns a bunch of properties, or is it one real estate agent listing a bunch of properties owned by a bunch of different people?
That part right there.
Okay. So what you want to do is you want to hit the realtor up. Here's what I would do. And again, this all depends on your style, your personality. This is mine. So take whatever makes sense.
Gotcha.
If it were me and I saw one realtor had, 5, 10, 15, whatever properties listed, let's call it more than 3.
Okay.
I would shoot them an email outside of Deal Sniper, just directly. I'd get their email address, give them a phone call, get their email address, whatever, and say, hey, look, here's what I do. Go to the cheat sheet and copy what I said about the one at the end with the POF. Take out the POF part at the beginning, but leave the rest of it in. But for those of you that don't know, I would say something along the lines of, hey, here, look at here, Mr. and Mrs. Realtor. Here's what I do. What city are these properties in, real quick?
Birmingham, all in Birmingham, Alabama.
Ooh, I got buyers in Birmingham. Let me know. Anyway, I would say, look, Mr. and Mrs. Realtor, I notice you have a lot of properties listed. I currently have 9 exclusive buyers that primarily deal with me in Birmingham. They're looking for properties to cash flow. Their plan is to put tenants in there and keep the properties for as long as possible.
I believe they already got tenants.
So here's what you're going to say, though. Are any of your clients, your sellers, whatever word you want to use, Scott, are any of your sellers open to a creative option? If they are, I believe a lot of my buyers would be interested. Let me know. Okay. That's what I would say. Because if they have buyers that are, if they have any of their clients, their sellers that are open to creative, or they think creative would work, they'll let you know. Because real estate agents and wholesalers should be on the same team. They want to get the house sold so they can get paid. You guys want to get the house sold so you can get paid. Correct. We need to make sure that the deals, the terms, everything align so that we can all get paid. That's what it comes down to. We want the seller to get paid their money at closing. We want the real estate agent to get paid their money at closing, and we want to get paid our money at closing, and then the buyer gets the property. So I would approach them like that. Approach them not like every other wholesaler has ever approached them. That's the most important thing. If you want to be good at this, you have to stand out.
Right.
Don't approach them the way every other asshole approaches them. Say, look, I'm not trying to waste your time. I'm not trying to waste my time. To hell with your time. I'm not trying to waste mine. Here's what I've got this many buyers. Here's what they're looking for. If any of your sellers are open to that, let me know. I think I can get this property moved for you ASAP. And on top of that, I'll cover your commission. That's the kind of email you send to a realtor.
Okay. All right. All right.
As long
Yeah.
as you can back it up. You got to be able to back it up.
Right, of
Now,
course.
if you're using my
right
team,
now,
you can
I'm
back
I'm
it
right
up.
now
So.
right now I'm set. I'm set to even to write what I need to write and then paste what I my offer back to him so he can give me a yes.
So if he says yes, this property, and this property would be open to it, then you need to put each one of those individually into Deal Sniper and just copy the terms part, not the whole. We're excited to give you, forget about all that, just the numbers.
I got you.
Say, okay, on this property, here's what we're offering. On this property, here's what we're offering. And on this property, here's what we're offering.
So I should break it down in the email like that, or just
Absolutely.
should I just do? Okay, so it's over 40 properties.
Holy shit! All right, go for it, dude.
It's over 40 properties. One realtor. But
Now
one person has to say so.
Okay, but hold on. I want to reiterate again. I want to make sure we're on the same page. These 40 properties are all owned by 40 different people, or they're owned by one person?
Not by owned by, it's investors that's got their hands in some, and
so it's one conglomerate that owns all 40.
I guess
like
so.
one group,
right? But the one decision is coming from one person via outside of the realtor.
I would hit the realtor up directly and say, look, here's what I'm trying to do. Is this portfolio, because it's a portfolio deal.
Right.
That's a little different.
Okay.
So you're going to say, hey, is this portfolio owner open to creative financing? If so, I want to shoot you some offers. If not, don't worry about it.
Okay. Now I've like I said, I've been corresponding. Now I did get a message say that that they are possibly considering creative financing.
Then ask them if they have any terms in mind. Anytime someone is already open to creative financing before you give them numbers, that's a great opportunity to ask them, okay, so what are they looking for?
Okay.
And that'll tell you right off the gate how far apart you are from your SOPs versus what they're asking. If anyone's curious, SOP stands for Standard Operating Procedure. That's our max 10% down for a down payment, less than 20% on our entry fee, no less than 10% on our cash on cash return, things like that. Those are our SOPs. Go ahead, Scott.
No, go ahead. No, I wasn't saying anything. I was listening to you. I'm just trying to gather my thoughts on how I'm gonna formulate this email. And once I formulate it, I'm gonna put my numbers up under that, my purchase price, and all that. Huh?
You don't have to do none of that. You want to, what a lot of people are missing in what Deal Sniper is. Yes, it will absolutely help you send out a bunch of offers. That's great. But it'll help you build relationships with realtors, which is the most important thing. Okay. You guys don't understand, because granted, you don't know, who I am, but the only reason I am as successful as I am is because of the partnerships I've built with realtors. So you need to use Deal Sniper for two things. One, sending out a bunch of offers. And two, first and foremost, though, is building relationships with these realtors. Because a realtor is your best friend if you're a wholesaler and you guys are on the same page. So you need to talk to this realtor the same way you talk to a buddy, the same way you talk to a friend that you haven't talked to in a while. Hey, man, I don't want to waste your time. You want to be respectful of this time, and you want to acknowledge that. And I definitely don't want to waste my time. That's a funny joke, but also shows him that, hey, you're about your time too.
Right.
It makes you your status higher just through an email.
Mhm.
So I don't want to waste your time, but I definitely don't want to waste my time. Is the portfolio owner for these 40 properties open to creative? And if they are, what kind of terms are they looking for? Send. That's it.
Okay. But what if I've
Good.
already? What if it? Like I said, what if you've already answered those questions though? Like, and he said yes, they are, and I already got the
What are
purchase
your
price,
terms?
the down payment.
Oh, you
The
have that?
Yeah, I got the purchase price, the down payment, the monthly payment, and whatever balloon is going to be.
Okay. Well, give me those right now. What are they asking for as a purchase price on a seller finance?
All right, so for the seller finance for these 40 something properties, it's going to be roughly like 5.2.
5.2 million. Okay. And what are they asking for as a down payment? Is it
Uh,
more than $500,000?
I got it. I got it as down payment as 500K, 20K, 25K a month, and I did a
Okay.
15-year balloon,
That's beautiful.
minimum of 10 years.
That's beautiful.
But my thing is, I want to put an email with that and be like, hey, Joe, such and such, such and such. Here's the terms. So I'm assuming the terms
Who's Joe?
I just threw a name out there.
Okay, so the realtor's name. You're sending
Yeah,
this to
yeah,
the realtor. Okay,
yeah,
so
yeah.
we'll
Joe is
use
the
Joe.
realtor. Yeah,
Here's what
realtor
you're
is
gonna
Joe.
say. Here's what you're gonna say. You're gonna say, Joe, here's my offer. I mean, it's very simple. Like again, like you're talking to a friend. Joe, here's my offer. You guys were asking, and you need to work this out. You guys were asking for about $5.2 million. We're willing to go $5.5 million on the purchase price. $500,000 down, $25,000 positive cash flow every single month, and a minimum of a 15-year balloon. If you can make that work, we can get this done.
Okay,
That's
so
it.
hey Joe, here's my offer for for the 48 properties
No, for this portfolio.
for this portfolio. Uh-huh. Hey Joe, here's my offer for this portfolio. And just put the offer on there and just put the terms on there, the
Write it
5.5.
out. But you have to let him know you're asking 5.2. We're offering 5.5.
Okay, I got you.
That's $300,000 over the asking price.
You are asking. Okay, hey Joe, here's my offer for this portfolio that you are asking 5.2. I'm sorry, chat, that I took up your time, took up some time, guys. I'm sorry.
Dude, we're in here until we're done. Don't even worry about it.
Okay.
48 houses take all day.
Okay, all right. So far I got, hey Joe, here's my offer for the portfolio that you are asking 5.2 mil. All right.
Yep.
All
We're
right.
offering 5.5.
We are offering.
Oh, wait a minute. Did you put the word mill or did you write out million?
I put 5.2 M.
Yeah, put million.
I got you.
Yeah, you got to put the whole word out there.
5.2 million.
A lot of people think that doesn't make a difference, but for boomers like me, it makes a difference.
I know that's right. It definitely. I got you. Yeah. Okay. All right. Here's my offer for this this portfolio, but you are asking 5.2 mil.
Darren, I'm gonna get to you in a second.
5.2 mil. We are okay. Come on with it again. One more time for me.
Hold on a second. Maybe it would be easier if I type it in the chat.
Cool.
And then you can just
got you. That'll work. That'll work.
Let's see. Offering 5.5 million purchase price, 500,000 down payment, and 25,000 per month. on a 15-year balloon. Well, that is way too many O's in balloon. There you go.
All right, got it.
Cool. Darren, what's up, dude?
All right, so I got the realtor. She sent me another contract. I told her I was going to sign this and all, but you know, it says purchase and sale, but it also just says a whole bunch of other junk like residential dwelling constructed. It just like it's a lot of other stuff. Can I just send it to you? I don't know what half of this thing. I don't know what it means.
It's so funny when a new person sees an actual like real estate purchase agreement. Yeah,
Edit.
it's a little overwhelming, right?
Yes.
Okay, so here's what I want you to do. Yes, you can send it to me, but before you send it to me, and I'm going to quiz you, so don't lie to me. I want you to go through it. I want you to actually read the entire contract. Even if you don't understand it, I want you to read it. And here's why. Because most real estate contracts, state by state, every state's got a different contract for the most part. They're all pretty much the same thing in different order with a couple of different clauses here and there. So I want you to get familiar with it because what would you do if I wasn't here?
I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. So you got to be able to self-sustain. So I want you to read it. I want you to go through it. And here's what you're looking for. You're looking for it to say the contract is not assignable or that it is. Chances are it won't say that it is. It'll only say that it's not. And then you're looking for earnest money deposit or EMD to be due after the inspection period. So I want you to look for those two things, read the entire damn thing. Don't get lazy on me, Darren. Read the whole thing and then send it to me. And then you tell me where those two things either are or that you didn't see them. And then I'll look through it.
Yeah, I did look through it, but like I was looking for, you know, the 10 business days or 14 and all that. And I don't see no clause. Man, it's just a lot. It's appliances, interior, it just
Yeah, I
what
know
I'm
it's a
looking
lot. I know it's overwhelming as hell, but I want you to, and that goes for all of you guys. I will always look at your contracts. Sean, is it okay for me to sign this? You guys can always send that to me, but you have to promise me that you're going to understand it first. Because what if I'm not here? Then what? I need you guys to be self-sufficient. So yes, you can send it to me, but I want you to read through the whole thing first, whether you understand it or not, read it. Because
Okay.
after a while, all those pieces, it's like playing chess. You learn how the pieces move, then you learn the strategy. You learn how what the contract says, then you learn what it means.
Okay.
Okay? So yeah,
Mhm.
that's all cool.
And also I sent you the dispo form. Can you check it? Like, did I do correctly? I'll watch the video, but you know, I'm a little slow sometimes. So
Okay, show off.
what?
Hold them up. I mean, I can't dive into it right now because I got to train everyone, but so far at first glance, yeah, it looks fine.
Okay.
And if there's something wrong, best believe I will let you know.
Okay. How would I send you the contract?
Same way, drop it right in the DM.
I know, but like, isn't it like if I sent you, maybe I'm
No. Once
like link?
once you have the signed copy, go to what system did you use? DocHub or DocuSign?
They're using dot loop. I never heard of it.
It doesn't matter. You're gonna see in the top somewhere, once you bring the contract up, somewhere at the top, you'll see an arrow or a button that says download. You hit
Oh,
download, it'll download it as a PDF, and then you copy and paste that or drop it directly into the DM.
oh, okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Robbie, what's up, dude?
So I just got off the phone with the realtor like 30 minutes ago, and so there's this divorced couple. I know when I say that word divorce, I know a couple weeks back I had brought it up, and you're like, yeah, like try to stay away from those because like the divorce decree dictates that the property needs to be like cut in half, or like the assets sold in half and split, whatever the case may be.
Usually.
They're willing, like this is what the realtor told me. They're willing to like go through a creative route and do seller financing because they've tried everything to sell it and it's not selling, and they're willing to go ahead and split the payments down the middle, like down payment down the middle and then monthly payment down the middle as well. So how would you
That's
go
what's
about
up.
facilitating that? Would that be in the contract to instruct the title company to just to split the payments instead of facilitating the whole process?
For the most part, yeah. So what'll happen is you'll put it in the contract and it'll say, this person, whoever the buyer is, the I'm assuming it's a husband and wife.
Yeah.
Okay. You got to be careful nowadays. So, you put the wife's name, will receive X amount of dollars. And then you put the husband's name, will receive X amount of dollars on closing. And then the same thing for the monthly payment. You just break it down. You don't say 50%. You don't say none of that. You use exact numbers in the additional term section.
Okay. And then another thing that I've been doing is
Hold up. Is it a seller finance or a sub two?
I believe it's a sub two.
Ooh, okay. So then if it's a straight sub two, then it's just the down payment, not the monthly payment. So whatever the down payment is, and you obviously put their whole name. Wife gets X amount of dollars, husband gets X amount of dollars, and it should be 50% of whatever the total down payment is.
Okay. And then my next question is, I know like we've already like got the past couple weeks, months, you've touched base several times on what COCs are attractive to what type of investors, and the higher the number, the more attractive it is, and bidding war and all that. So for an entry fee, right?
Yep.
What's too much? I know there's always that possibility of being optimistic and if you can sell it, but like from your experience of dispo, that side, what's like that percentage of like, okay, look, like it's, you need to stay away from this, like it's too much.
Well, that's not a number, that's a percentage.
Right. So like what's the percentage? Like it's like, is it like 20%, 15%? Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm not familiar with that.
There's a couple of factors in that, and I know what you're asking, and I know it sounds like I'm skating the answer. I'm not. It's just a couple of factors involved. Like
right.
how much, what's the least you're willing to make on a deal? That affects the number quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess the short answer is, to see, everyone's going to take this, what I'm going to say, and they're going to run with it, and they're going to bring me a bunch of deals that are like, no, man.
If you, like I said, you could just shoot me a DM if you don't.
No. I'll answer it for everyone, because if you have the question, then a lot of people probably have the same question. So as long as there's a mitigating circumstance, you could probably go up to 15%.
Okay.
And by mitigating circumstance, the house is completely flipped, not turnkey. I mean, the house is brand new. Nobody's ass has ever sat on that toilet before. That's how new it is.
Right.
Or the cash on cash return is remarkable. So,
and are we talking like 15% and more than like?
We're talking about, if you're going to go 15% of the purchase price as a down payment, we're talking at least a 15% cash on cash return.
Gotcha.
At least.
Gotcha. And then my next question is, so you said something about like, and it makes sense. Like you take the time to underwrite only to hear 95% no's, whatever the case may be. I underwrite every single deal before I send it out, so I know what my maxes are just in case I'm ready to negotiate.
Okay.
But my issue is there's a discrepancy when I use Deal Sniper sometimes. It's not all the time, right? Because there's Rental Meter, you could use that. Then there's a Zillow rental estimate, which usually coincides with Deal Sniper. But sometimes it's like there's some scenarios where you just put a property where there's a huge discrepancy between Rental Meter, between Deal Sniper itself, and between the Zillow rent estimator. I know every investor, they do their due diligence differently, but in order for me to at least have a rough estimate of cash flow, what number do I use? You know what I mean? How do I calculate that?
I would always use the lowest number.
Okay.
And the reason being is because it's one of those things where you'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it.
Right.
You're covering everyone. If you have someone who used the exact same medium as you, you've got their number dialed in. If you've got someone who's got a better number than you because they use a different platform, then the deal just looks that much more attractive to them.
Gotcha.
That's what I would do. I would always err on the side of caution. And here's another thing that I want to tell all of you new people. You're never going to be exact. You're never going to please everyone when it comes to the buyers on what the rental estimate is, what the ARV is, what the rehab estimate is. Everyone's got their own way of running numbers. Your job is to be able to back up the numbers that you do produce. If you can back up the numbers you do produce, you're good. Everybody's numbers are going to be different. You're never going to please everyone. All right, who's got another question? Uh-oh. I can't see the screen. Whoever that is, just start talking. Damon, what's up, dude?
Hey, what's going on, Sean? It's not really a question, but it's just last time we talked, I know I had asked you for like a percentage as far as what to target for subject to, and I know you said I think you said 10% and under or something of that nature. For the
Tell me a little bit about that question again. 10% target for what? The down payment
for subject to, I guess for what was what equity amount, the amount of equity.
Oh, you mean like if you're
mistaken.
farming for like VA leads and things like that?
You said what leads? I'm sorry.
If you're farming like VA leads and things like that, what percentage of equity should you be targeting?
Yeah, but from my understanding, and like I said, I don't know if it's accurate or not, but I was informed to stay away from like FHA and VA loans for subject to, trying to get those under contract or something because I don't know, there's some type of legal issue or something that's going on. I'm not really sure the whole story of it, but that's mainly what's coming up is FHA and VA properties that have 10% or less of equity. So I'm kind of scared to target those, and I haven't. I stayed away from them.
Okay, so let me give you the information that I have. Now, I know a lot of you guys look to me like I know everything, and I'm not gonna lie, I know a lot, but I definitely don't know everything. So I'll give you the information that I have. Shut up, Leo. I'll give you the information that I have, and then we'll kind of go from there. And we'll start with VA loans. The reason why I would say not necessarily that you need to stay away from VA loans, but you need to be very cautious when you're dealing with them is because first of all, are there any veterans on here right now? Josh, you're a veteran or you have a question?
I'm a veteran.
Okay, so you correct me if I'm wrong. When you're going through VA and you have your VA benefits to go to get a VA loan for a property, they give you a certain amount. So when you're doing a VA loan subject to, you have to be able to make the seller understand that whatever the amount of mortgage is left, because it's staying in their name, under their social security number and still under their VA benefits, it's going to be deducted from that allotted amount that they have for their VA benefits to go buy a property. So if they want to buy another property, they have to kind of do a little bit of mental math to figure out how much they can afford.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that you can only have one loan out at a time. I just signed up today, so I don't really know shit about shit. I'm just trying to like listen and gather as much information as I can. But I do know with like VA loans, you can only have one out at a time, especially like the home loans. But yeah, that's pretty much all I know.
Gotcha. Okay, so that actually is an update to what I was just saying. You cannot subject to, well, let me say this again. Let me say it differently. You can subject to someone that has a VA loan if they're not planning on buying another property trying to use their VA benefits. That's, I guess, the easiest way to say it. If they're planning on, and this is when you have to have an actual conversation with either the realtor or the seller and say, look, what's your plan for once you move? Because if we subject to this property, you can't use your VA benefits to buy another one. because this one's going to be staying in your name. As far as the VA is concerned, you still live and occupy this property. So you can't go buy another one. So what is your actual plan? If their plan is to use their VA benefits to buy another property, don't subject to that one. Just move on to another deal. Josh, what's up?
I'm almost certain with VA loans, like you can use it again, but you have to like refinance with like another loan. So you could roll that loan over into some like a different loan and then use another VA loan. So I would probably ask too if they plan on like refinancing that loan to open up another loan for another property.
Well, see, that's the nature of a subject to loan. So let's say it was you, right? Let's say you own a property right now that I'm trying to purchase via subject to. That loan's going to stay open in your name. No one, including the bank or anybody else, is going to know that you're selling the property to me and moving. So the deed is going to transfer to my name, but the mortgage is going to stay in your name. So would you be able to then go and buy another property using your VA benefits?
That I do not know, but that is a very good question.
Yeah, so I'm from the last thing that I heard, it either gets deducted. So if they have an $80,000 mortgage, they have $300,000 worth of benefits, then now they only have available to them 220. But from what I just heard from Josh, it sounds like that's been updated, and now you can't own two properties using your VA benefits. So if that's the case, you really need to have a deep conversation with the seller or the realtor and find out what the plan is of the owner of the property for when the property closes. If they're planning on using their VA benefits to purchase another property, back out of the deal. Don't do a subject to, because we are not screwing over any veterans. Like, I'm not teaching that. Like, don't do it. It's not, like, if you have a conscience, it's just not worth it. It's just not. So I don't know who asked that question, but did that answer your question? And if it didn't, say something so I can reiterate.
No, it made sense. I appreciate it. I was trying to see if I can target homes with a higher equity percentage. I was trying to look up to at least 20, 25, but I don't know if that's a good idea.
No, that's a good idea. But if you're going to go creative financing, you might as well look for people that have low equity, because that's a very high probability that you can convert that into a subject to.
Yeah, it's only like I said, very slim pickings when it comes to conventional homes that have maybe 10% or a little above that, but I didn't really find too many.
What
Most
market
of
are
them
you in?
had. I was looking in Jacksonville and I was looking in Tampa.
Try Cincinnati, Cleveland, and Akron, Ohio.
Okay, I'll do that.
Let me know how that works out for you too. But from what I understand from my disposition team, that's a pretty hot market right now for low equity. So I would give it a shot. I mean, if you're using Deal Sniper, I mean, what is that, a week?
You said a week?
Give or take, yeah. You can try marketing in Ohio for a week and see how it works. And if you get something under there, then awesome.
Yeah, I'll try it. I'll give it a shot. I mean, I don't have nothing else to do with it, but to give it a shot. I'm already, committed to it, so I'm gonna try it.
That's what's up. Okay.
All right, appreciate you. Thank you.
No worries. Who else has a question? What's up, dude?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Go for it. Oh, wait. How do I pronounce that? I don't want to butcher it.
I don't know why I didn't change my name. It's a more guapo, but I was in a couple of days ago. PJ.
Oh, what's up, dude?
What's going on, man? Me and you were talking earlier about this one. I don't mean to butt in and cut anybody's time off, but
we're here for it, dude.
Man, you know the offer I was telling you about earlier?
You're gonna have to remind me. That was probably 500 deals ago.
Yeah, okay. It was a creative finance offer for 115 and a cash offer for 84.
Oh, yeah. I remember that. He wanted like 95,000, right?
Yeah. So last week he wanted 99. He called me back yesterday. He said he'd take 97. Now we just talked again probably about 10 minutes ago.
Okay.
And he said 92. Now I know you told me that the MAO is 98.
It's 98 at
yeah.
80% ARV. So hold on a
Right.
second. Hold up. I'm gonna grab my. So for those of you that don't know what I'm about to do, I'm checking what the MAO is. MAO stands for max allowable offer. That means as a wholesaler, after you deduct the percentage for the ARV, the rehab estimate, and your assignment fee, what's the most that you can offer. So in this situation, the formula for my team is ARV times 65%. What do you do? I based it off at 70%. Did you run it off 70?
Yeah, man. TikTok. Okay. So yeah, 70.
Let's see, times 70%. Minus what did you give me for a rehab?
Rehab was 136.
136. No, the rehab. How much is it to fix the place up? Like,
it was about $6,000 for the roof.
Okay, and then minus at least 10,000. I ran it at 80%. 135,000 times 80% minus. Yeah, your MAO at 80% is about $92,000. How bad is the roof? Is the roof broken or is it just old?
It's not broken. It's old. I mean,
is it leaking?
It's not leaking. No leaks.
So, but you mentioned the roof, which means the seller mentioned the roof. Why did he mention the roof?
Yeah. So initially he wanted 134, but because of the roof, he didn't feel like putting it on. I mean, he said he just wanted market value for it. That's why he implemented about the roof. So it's pretty much.
But other than that, the property is completely renovated.
Yeah, it's completely renovated.
I say go for it. If he'll take 92, you can do 92 cash. I would still feel more comfortable if you did like 100, maybe 110 creative.
Yeah, he turned that down with a quick, man.
He did?
Yeah, he did. He was like, one guy sent him an offer for 130, but his thing is he wants 50K for a down payment. I was like, shit, man. If we get in that 50K, I might as well buy the whole house. I mean, we might as well get the whole house.
He's not getting 50K. And here's the thing, just so everyone's on the same page. When a real estate agent or a seller comes back with some ridiculous number, they don't know that we're wholesaling. They don't know our formulas. They don't know that we can't make money on that or that we can't move it. There's no need in getting super angry or hyped up about it. They don't know. You know what I mean? Fuck it. They don't know. You know what I mean? Just laugh, post it in the main chat so we can all laugh about it and move on to the next deal. In this one, I say you need to set the proper expectation, but I would say go for it. If there's a 1% chance we can close it, I say go for it. It's free.
Okay.
So tell him, yeah, we'll do 92 cash, and let him know we're going to try our best to get it at $92,000 cash.
Okay.
And then we'll push it out for like 109.
Okay.
110.
Yeah, just want a little pregame, man, before I call him back, so I won't be on the phone stumbling.
No, you're all good. Tell him, look, man, we're going to try it. We'll give it our best shot at $92,000 cash. And if we can get you a buyer, awesome. You know, we'll close and get everything done and get you taken care of. If not, then at the very least, you'll know what 13,000 investors think about your property and you can make a decision moving forward.
Gotcha. Okay, my man. I appreciate you, brother.
No worries.
All right.
All right. Who else has a question? I can't see the screen.
So I've been reading the contract and so it's talking about due diligence and all that, but it doesn't have like a set date. It just says as such, seller answers should not be taken as a warranty or guarantee of the accuracy of such answers, nor a substitute for buyer doing his own due diligence. I could read the whole thing. It was like an essay, but there's no like set like day or date or whatever.
That's okay. Just do me a favor. Mm-hmm. I actually know what part you're at. Keep reading.
Okay.
Just keep reading. You're good. And then when you're done reading it, send it to me. I know it's a lot, but I'm telling you right now, it's worth having that information in the back of your head. I'd rather you have it and not need it than need it and not have it. And I guarantee you're going to need it.
Okay. And
All
Mr.
right.
Yeah, Mr. Michael, he called me again and he said he sent the contract up to title already,
Who the
and
fuck
I
is
need
that?
Michael's the dude I just signed with.
Okay.
Yeah, and he said he sent it up to title and that I need to sign something. And he was just reading off like the terms in the list. And I don't really understand it. I don't know why. I thought you supposed to send it up to title once you find a buyer.
That's what we do. And
Okay.
for real estate agents, they open title right away. It's no
Yeah, and
big
I asked
deal.
him.
Doesn't
He
mean
was
anything.
like, yeah, he just said, just to make sure like we're serious and all that. I was like, oh, okay, that's fine. So I can just sign it?
Yep, you're good.
Get it? All right. Okay.
CM Legacy. Alina, right?
Yes, hi there.
What's up?
I just had a question about the property that we're JVing on.
Okay.
I just want to know how it's going and if we're not really getting any bites on it, what I should do next.
Let me see. Give me 2 seconds here. What's the address?
It's 316 E 20th Ave in Torrington, Wyoming.
Okay. It looks like we have 3 potential buyers looking at it right now. We're just awaiting on their offer and then schedules for walkthroughs.
Oh, nice. Okay. All right. I wasn't sure the status of it, so I was like, shoot, what do we have to do?
Oh, no, you can always hit me up for the stats. That's fine. And for a lot of you guys that are new, that are just going deals with us, we're not going to tell you anything if we don't have anything to tell you. You know what I mean? So we know, and keep in mind, you're doing either a 10, I think in your case was a 14 business day inspection period. That actually pencils out to very close to 3 weeks because my team works on the weekends. So you guys have got plenty of time, but you can always hit me up and ask me, hey, what the hell is going on with my deal? And I'll tell you, just like I just did.
Yeah, because I know that the 14-day inspection period was coming up in like 3 days, and I was somebody told me that title, it takes a couple days to get that process too. So I just wanted to make sure that like we were in that time frame.
Absolutely. Yeah. So what would happen? Let's say one of these 3 buyers that we have interested in the deal, they want to move forward. We're going to send them an assignment contract. We're going to get the wiring instructions from title. We're going to give those wiring instructions to the buyer. They're going to wire in their EMD. Then that starts their inspection period. We give them 5 business days. They get to look at the property, walk it, make sure that they're good with everything. And then as long as they're good with everything, then we proceed to closing.
Yeah. Okay. I just wanted to also, because the agent, we put it as the closing date for April 2nd. So I just wanted to make sure that, you know, had the right information to relate to him. I mean, if we need to potentially extend it as well, I could always ask him for one. I'm sure he wouldn't mind because it has been on the market for a while. So, I mean, if he has this deal under contract and we're ready to move forward, I'm sure he wouldn't mind pushing it a couple days.
Sure. Yeah. If it gets to that point, that's good to know. But I'm going to have a meeting with my disposition team tomorrow morning. So I'll have an update for you by the afternoon at the latest.
Perfect. All right. Sounds good. Thank you so much.
No worries. All right. Who else has got a question?
Sorry, I got something for you.
What's up, dude?
If we're going to do a homestead deal on the subject to, that's something we need to have you write up for us.
As far as the contract?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you go to the submit your deal channel at the very top, there's a web form link for Podio. It's literally labeled subject to hybrid deals only. And that's just because you guys don't have access to that contract and the extra addendums. And here's why, in case you guys were curious. Why don't we have that contract? We signed a non-disclosure agreement with a lawyer that we paid a couple $1,000s to generate this contract for us. So we can't just freely send it out to everyone because we would get sued. That's how a lot of other people have gotten into trouble. So in this situation, I'll just send that out on your behalf. And if you're clever, then you have a copy of the contract, wink, wink. So Yeah, you just fill that out and we'll send it out for you. And usually, whatever day you fill it out, it goes into your DMs the next morning.
Beautiful. Thank you.
No problem. Anybody else have any questions? Going once. Going twice.
Are we still good to meet afterwards?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, cool.
Carlos, what's up, dude?
Yeah, I just got the contract back today from the agent. Everything looks good except for the inspection period. It says 7 days. I don't know if you want. Is it okay at 7? Should I tell him I need 14?
I would tell him you need 14, and I would dig my heels in at 10 business days. 7 business days is our minimum, which depending on the day that you sign it, gives us anywhere from 9 to 11 days to find a buyer. If you're able to get 14 business days, that gives us about 20 to 21 days to find a buyer. So the longer the inspection period, the more chance we have to find a buyer. If
I
you're
got you.
using us to dispo.
No, and I am. So that was going to be my next question. So, I mean, do I sign it? Do I hand it up for you guys signed it? I don't know what to do at this point.
Holy hell, you spoke really fast just now. Say that again, but slower.
Yeah, I plan to use guys to dispo. So I don't know if I'm supposed to sign it or if I'm supposed to hand it over to y'all to sign it.
So no, you'll sign it. You'll definitely sign the contract. And what'll happen is you'll go to the disposition form channel. You'll copy that. There's a whole form there. That's the only thing that was posted. You'll copy it, paste it into a DM to me, filled in, and then drop a copy of the contract in the DM. And then we'll start underwriting the deal the next day and pushing it for disposition.
So so fill it out, send a copy to you, and just DM it to you.
Yep.
Understood. Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Not a problem. All right. Does anybody else have a question? I don't want to do the going once, going twice, going sold thing again. That's corny. Josh, what's up, dude?
Hey, I just looked up if you can use 2 VA loans, home loans at the same time, and you can, but it's under specific conditions. One of them was like remaining entitlement. Second was meeting occupancy rules and loan limits and down payment. So I guess if the remaining entitlement does not fully cover the second loan, you may need to take a down payment to meet the lender requirements. But yeah, I guess you can use 2 at the same time. I don't know if and when that actually changed, but just wanted to throw that out there.
Gotcha. No, I appreciate that. So it sounds like those are a little more unique situations for people to have 2 existing VA loans. It might be, and again, we'll revisit every single one that you guys bring me, for us to look at. I'll look at every single one, but it sounds like if the seller is going to be using their VA benefits to buy another property, you might want to have a really deep conversation with them and make sure that everything's going to be on the up and up. Is that fair?
That makes sense. Also, I had just one last question.
Sure.
I just started today. I'm actually really good friends with Ben. Ben Goros is in the group.
Nice.
He told me about Deal Sniper and everything. Signed up instantly. Where should I start? I want from start to finish, being able to have all the information that I need.
So I'll tell you what. If you can find me have we DM'd each other at all?
We have
yet?
not.
Probably not, right? Okay, so find me in the chat. I'm going to post something literally as soon as this call is done. So you can DM me directly, and I will send you a link of exactly step-by-step a video of how to work Deal Sniper properly.
Beautiful. All right. I appreciate it.
No problem. Anybody else have a question?
Do you tell them that you're adding an appraisal clause, or you just put it in there?
I mean, you're asking the wrong dude. I'm super upfront. I tell everybody, I want to know. I am old enough to where I don't want to waste time on a damn thing. So I tell everyone everything up front. They know exactly what I'm sending them. There's no surprises, no nothing. That's me. Some wholesalers just send it. So that's entirely up to you.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell them because I feel like that just
Like, why waste time? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if they're not going to be cool with it, I want to know that before I take 10 minutes to fill out the contract. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel you.
But I'm brutally honest. That's why I don't have any friends. Sean, does this dress make me look fat? Yeah, it does. Anyway, does anybody have any other questions for me before I let you guys go? All right, cool. So that'll be it for tonight. This training, the entire recording, will be uploaded tomorrow. You guys will have access to it. I'll put it in the channel. And then I'm going to be in the Discord channel for the next, I don't know, 4 or 5, maybe 6 hours. It depends. So if you have any other questions, you guys can hit me up there. If not, then I will talk to you guys later. You guys have a great night.
Thank you.
Not a problem. Talk to you later.